Okay, now hopefully you've watched the previous video where I sort of go over the way that this course is going to be laid out, how we're going to try to give you everything that you need and nothing that you don't. I believe it's time that we actually start doing that. So this first section here, where we're going to get into the meat and the potatoes, I guess, the content is going over the limiting beliefs about free promotions. So the reason I think that not a lot of people are talking about what I am going to call this course the Engage Niche Hacks Masterclass. So why people aren't talking about engaged niches and the ways that you can use little hacks to get quite a few results compared to other methods. The reason is, well, one, it might not be that sexy on the surface, right? So you're talking about, oh, we're going to get engaged and we're going to get different niches and then we're going to get down. Maybe it's because it's vague. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because, I guess, like I said, it's not that sexy, but it's not as shiny. It's much easier maybe to promote, and we've done this in the past. One of the bonuses in this package is our paid app installs course, also how to get your apps profitable course. If I say, hey, you're going to spend $1, and if you do everything right and all the pieces line up, then you're going to make $3, and then you're going to pay for your buck, and you're going to net $2. Did I say that right? Sorry, somebody was texting me there. I'm not distracted. I'm not going to look at my phone anymore. So I say, hey, you spend $1, you generate $3, you pay yourself back for that advertising, and you make $2. And we're just assuming that that $3 is after fees because that keeps the math simple. That's a lot easier to sell somebody on. And it's also easier for you to wrap your head around the process, right? We're going to drive app install ads or whatever the case is, and we are going to get eyeballs on your app, and then we're going to convert those for a price less than it's going to generate us, right? Simple math. See, the problem with that is even in our profitable or get your apps profitable course and our paid app installs course, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's also a lot of pieces to the puzzle. So I can teach you exactly how to make that happen, but what if your app sucks? What if your niche is oversaturated? What if you went in that oversaturation in the niche, you tried to make something better and you failed? What if it's worse? What if all the things that I would tell you that would work, now they're not going to work because you're trying to sell something that no one wants? Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you have something awesome and you're skipping a bunch of steps and you think you know what you're doing and then you don't get the results. So I believe that that's why I turned to some different methods, because even though I'm the one teaching a lot of these courses, there's things that are always changing, right? There's variables that are out of my control. So I wanted, you always hear everybody's like, you got to diversify. You got to diversify your methods and your funds, and that's what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to always rely on paid advertising. What if I'm low on cash that month? What if what if it's around Christmas time and the ad costs go up and I need other methods? What if I just want to test an app and get feedback on it before I sink a bunch of money into paid advertising? Let's say I have an app and okay, I'm going to spend $1,000 this month advertising, and maybe I end up breaking even, and then depending on how I have that set up, maybe I have to wait a few months to get my money back. So I got a bunch of data, but now I have to wait a month to get my $1,000 back so I can push more traffic into an app and actually make money. It just didn't seem to make sense to me. So what I decided to try to do is get my app in front of people that actually want my app, okay? And when I'm able to do that, this is what we're going to talk about in this course. Not only was I able to generate a lot of interest and buzz and revenue, I was able to do it without paying for advertising. So let me pull a few things in here. Okay, so one of the first times we used this was back in April of 2017. Okay, so in April it was a pretty solid month. Up until this point, I don't think I'd ever really seen a revenue day like that. $980 in one day. So this is only Apple, and when you put in Google, that was where this sort of originated. The tagline. If you're wondering, if you never got confirmation, where I think it was $15,360 in less than 30 days. So we have this Apple revenue, and then we have the Google revenue, and that's how it happened. If you want me to look out 2 months, so I think this is, okay, let me sign back in here. Because that was cool. Okay, so we're back in. So then when I look at April and May, all April, all May, okay. This was pretty cool. Let's see here. So the graph doesn't look as impressive, right? You think like, oh, it's not that good. Well, it's because there was a few spikes here that made the graph get big enough, so it had enough room to show the revenue. So, normally you look at a graph like this and you're like, okay, would you make like 50 bucks a day, $25 a day, $100 a day? So I look at this, and there was that $980 revenue, and then you can just see, these are daily figures. And this is like probably the best, I think, if this is going to be the best revenue day, sales, whatever I had ever. Doesn't have to be the record forever, but it is a record for now. So anyway, you can kind of see, that was still a good one too. What I'm talking about, and if we go over the things that I did to make this happen, you're going to see that you're able to start out trying to earn this revenue up front, make the app profitable, get the feedback, tweak, get some people around you, and get it shared, and get some momentum, get the snowball rolling at the top of the hill. And by the time you decide if you want to start paid advertising, your cost to set the ad up, your design cost, if you're doing a template, if you're paying a programmer, a developer, whatever the case is, if you're doing it all yourself to save money, you're already profitable. So like an app, that earns, I remember one of the apps that did it, and it was like $1,200 the first day, just with the Apple version. And I believe that one of the other ones, you could have added that up. The figures I showed you, it was like $8,000 in a week. I didn't have to worry about recouping my costs to produce that app after that time. It was already paid for. So if I wanted to take some of that initial profit and then put it back into paid advertising, knowing what I know now, I could do that. And I think that that's a good move, rather than just, it's kind of like showing up on the first day, and I'm not saying this is your first day of apps, but your first day that the app's live, and just being like, okay, I have this completely figured out. I've thought of everything. I completely know my customer, my niche, how to reach everybody, and I'm just going to sink, $1,000 today in paid advertising. And because I know everything, I'm going to make, $3,000 and then net $2,000. Well, it's really easy to think that, and then it's also really easy to spend $1,000 and not make it back. So, and that's just an example. If we get the app profitable upfront, tweak and use everybody that's a fan of the app to help us dial it in because they want to see it exist, then we can take those customers and help that are going to help us reach more customers, not only for free, sharing things around and giving you feedback and helping. We're going to use the data if we want to use, paid app install campaigns, or maybe even we just want to build a Facebook page around the app of these original users and just do boosted posts. If you find a niche and dial it in, and you follow the things like I'm going to talk about here, the idea, find the engage, provide value, ask, get it. If you do what I'm talking about correctly in this course, you don't have to be like somebody saying, oh, well, you can't really post in Facebook groups anymore because or pages. I mean, you can, but it's not really profitable because there's too much competition in the deliver. If you get a good enough niche and an engaged enough group, you can beat all the statistics. You don't have to be normal numbers. Like whatever number somebody tells you, like, oh yeah, if you get a certain amount of likes and you post, like it's, if you get the right niche group and you follow the steps, you are able to beat the numbers. I know I'm repeating myself, and it's to prove a point. Now, this is the last thing I want to talk about here. I'm going to see if I have it over on the other page. Where are you at? Here we go. So this is like a free MailChimp account. You can have up to 2,000 subscribers. I had it before I had my other email accounts, and then I sort of just used it to do these little lists for apps. So because I didn't want to send it from my big one. So what are you looking at here? Well, to give you some perspective, if you are on our email list, which I'm assuming you are, because if you're watching this, you bought the package, or maybe you're in here from somebody else's traffic, and it was an affiliate type thing where we co-hosted a webinar, or maybe they just pushed traffic to our webinar. I'm not sure, but regardless, I'm not saying that it has to be the numbers, but if I send an email out, there's a chance that maybe 10, 15, 20% of people that are going to open that. Maybe 12 would be a good average. So a lot of this has to do, I mean, I know the numbers are just numbers and you can manipulate the numbers. How often you clean your email list and delete people that don't open. There's different ups and downs on what these numbers are going to be. But if you talk to somebody, it could be 10 to 15% open rate in emails. And then your click-through rate, depending on how you serve your customers, the niche you're in, how often you're trying to sell something versus provide value, your click-through or your click rate could be less than 1%, obviously. It could be up to 5%. It just depends. I've seen that our click-through rates or our click rate, whatever, sending an email to app developers can be very low. I can get 10 to 20% of people to open it on our list, but the click-through rate might be less than 1%. It might be like 1.5%, which really gets me because the content in the email is going to be leading up to the idea that you should click on the link. Like, hey, there's a subject line, here's the body, we're providing value, we're giving you a preview. If you want to buy or you want to learn more, click here. And it's like people see the email, they open it because it's interesting, they read the content because it's interesting, or it gets them to be a little bit curious, and then they get down to the bottom and it's like, I don't know if it's just because everybody's distracted these days or what, it's like, I don't really have time to click. It's like, well, that's tough, right? But it is what it is. Now what you're looking at here is going to be an example of how you can beat the numbers that I was talking about a little bit ago. Let me see how long this video is. Yeah, it's a little too long. So we're into the second video. Just a quick recap for myself here. The video that'll be up front here, where you will be watching the sort of behind the scenes, that first section where I talk about how the course is going to be laid out. And then we're going to be watching limited beliefs. And maybe these are going to be combined by the time you see them. But the point is, as we get down into the real part of the course here, where there's specific steps and examples and everything else, these videos will be shorter. I want to lay the foundation to where you understand that I'm not messing around here. I'm serious. Okay. So here we are. You're looking at some old emails that I sent to an engaged list of one of our apps. Actually, it looks like there's multiple apps in here. Okay, so that would be a good example that it does not just have to be, it's not just one special niche. Let's see here. So I was getting 50. You can see there's not a lot of people here. These aren't big lists, but you don't need big lists when you got powerful numbers. So I said I might get 12% of people to open my email. Let's just say it's 10%. I mean, usually it's a little higher, but just for just to keep it simple, let's just say it's 10%. So my emails that go out to app developers, maybe 10% can open, right? Or they do open. But I'm seeing 50% here, 38, 44. There was one that was even 80%. I don't know where that went. %. All these numbers are way better. Some, they're 8 times better. Some of them are 5 times better. So I can have small lists. They can be highly engaged. And not only do I get them to open the email, but then the click-through rate. So I'm saying, seriously, if I get like 1% click-through rate, maybe it's a good day sending to, app developers and some other lists. But I'm getting 11.3. I'm getting 14.6, 12.4, 19.4 click-through rate. Are we serious here? Half the people that open this email click. You ever think about it like that? There's not another column here. So these click-through rates to me are even better. I'm sure some email services allow you to segment this, maybe MailChimp too. I'm just not. So to me, if I send this to 80 people and 41% open, of that 41%, 19% click. See, oh my, 80 opens. Wait a minute, let's see how good this really is. See, to me, I don't really care what the click-through rate percentage is for the people that don't open, right? To me, that doesn't count. So let's just look at this. 80 opens. So we have 80 people opening. Come on, man. I know this is probably simple math. And we have 37 clicks. So 37 divided by 80. A 46% click-through rate. If you open the email, so it's almost like 50%. So if you open this email with some of these engaged niches, if they open, there's almost a 50% chance they're going to click. That's unreal. At least the things that I've seen, and you look across a lot of different markets, and I read a lot of marketing stuff or marketing blogs, and that's a good number. So just the fact that we're up here in the 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% open rate, and the clicks are not even based on that. So 6 clicks, so 48 opens, so 13 divided by 48. Let's just see this. Okay, 20% click-through rate. So that's 20 times what I would normally get. That other one, 46 times, what I would get sending an email to some other niches. So I think that about wraps it up. Let's see, we're probably almost at 20 minutes. Awesome. Kind of went against what I was going to say, but we have that first video where I say we're going to give you everything you need, nothing you don't. And then this video is long, so it sort of piggybacks off that. And then now when we jump into the content, now I am going to just give you what you need and nothing you don't. I was afraid that if I didn't set this up, you would think that I'm just trying to blow off or make this some sort of a short course and not give you what you need. That's not the case. What I'm doing is I'm setting the stage so you see that I'm serious and see what's possible. And now when you're going through the steps, you know that it's exactly what you need and nothing that you don't. So I think that's about all I have to say for now. By the time you're seeing this, I'll probably combine a few of these. This welcome section might be simple. It might be like, the backstory or whatever it is, and limiting beliefs. This works might be combined into that. But then we'll jump into the how to find the engage, how to provide the value. Ask if you can get feedback. Let's see here. We're going to go into the app. We're going to leverage the engagement. We're going to show you what an engaged launch looks like. Then we're going to go into maintenance and growth. Let's keep it going. And then we're going to look at, you know, the data, and I explained this a little bit before, how we can actually go in and use the data that you normally would pay for, but you have all that organic and that free. So you're always, you know, it used to be ASO and keywords, and it still can be, but all the stuff I'm going to teach you is how to do all that, not ASO and keywords, but how to get similar free organic and, you know, traffic, downloads, revenue that gets you that data just like that. And if you do it right and you have a good niche, I still see consistent revenue from a lot of these apps that I've built up that I don't push paid advertising to at all. It's just because the app itself, following the steps, getting people engaged, and they're also from apps that I haven't even updated in a while. So once you get this going and you give people what they want, you could see, you know, consistent revenue coming in every month. I mean, I don't know what consistent revenue every month would look like for you. That would be worth it. Is it an extra $100 a month? Is it an extra $400 or $500? Is it an extra $1,000? It just depends. Or is it, you know, $5,000? I mean, the fact that you can get to a point where you have consistent revenue coming in that is just, you know, everybody talks about, like Pat Flint, smart passive income. I don't think that smart passive income is what people think it is. I think there's a lot more work that you have to put in to get to that point. And I don't think it's ever really passive, but let's say you set it up the way that I want you to set it up here. You get some results, you do a little paid advertising, maybe you don't, you push things forward a little bit. Maybe you're not updating the app all the time, maybe every 2, 3, 4 months, you know, once a quarter, whatever. You know, do some seasonal things and some little promotions. That can be enough to keep things going. So I hope this is to the point where you're sick of me talking about the different ways that we're going to be able to find profitable niches and engage with them and promote and get free buzz and all this stuff, because now we're going to dig into the things that are going to make that possible. But again, had to set the stage, and sometimes the stage could be annoying and could be a little overkill, but now you know what's to come. So I will see you in the next video. This is Todd Smith. Thanks a lot for watching. See ya.